The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN, great talk radio starts here.
All right, folks, we are back, and I am glad to announce that we are joined by Mark Dice of the ResistanceManifesto.com and, of course, MarkDice.com, and I have a pre-copy of the Illuminati Facts and Fiction. I was saying fact or fiction before, and I'm actually going to be reading this book tomorrow on the plane back to New York if I can stay up. It's an early flight, but I'm definitely looking forward to it, Mark.
Well, thanks, man, and great show, and I don't just mean that as the typical intro banter. It really is a great show. You're a good host. I enjoy listening to your show. Sometimes I'll actually put my laptop in my vehicle because I don't have an XM radio here. So good job on the show, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, we are trying to break out and really give people an alternative to the alternative, a late-night show where we can cover the issues and really go through the issues 2 times a day because the news doesn't stop because Alex Jones is off the air. You know, often a lot of big stories come in after or we'll miss big stories, and I really think that this NLE 09 exercise is a big story and really needs to be blown up. I think the mainstream media is eventually going to pick up on it. When, I don't know. It could be a week before the exercise. It could be a month. It could be tomorrow. But I think it's an important story, and people have to check it out. The story I really want to talk to you about kind of coincides with your book, because you have a whole chapter in this new book about angels and demons and the Da Vinci Code and Dan Brown. And did you see this Esquire article bashing conspiracy theorists, basically putting them in league with Holocaust deniers and white supremacists? And the title of the article, I believe, is Why Conspiracy Theorists Are Part of the Problem.
No, I heard you mentioning it, and he mentioned that we were too wrapped up in angels and demons, which is part of the reason why I was actually inspired to write this book, because I knew that this movie, Angels and Demons, the movie comes out May 15th, so it's in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks it comes out. It's going to be huge. It's all about the Illuminati and the symbolism, and it is going to bring the Illuminati from the subculture and from the Internet into the mainstream. And as we're going to get into later in the show, you'll find out that it is possibly the biggest whitewash and disinformation campaign. And Mr. Dan Brown himself has some very interesting ties to the Illuminati that we'll get into as well. And you know, yeah, the Angels and Demons, I don't even know where to begin. Basically, the movie comes out, but it's based on Dan Brown's book. He's the author of the Da Vinci Code, which everybody probably knows by now. It expounds this conspiracy theory that the Jesus had a family and the Catholic Church is trying to kill it, and the secret societies are hiding this family tree, which kind of coincides with the Merovingians and some Illuminati symbology, but it doesn't really mention the Illuminati by name, mentions the Freemasons, the Knights Templar. But Angels and Demons was actually published in 2000, and it's about the Catholic Church is being threatened by the Illuminati, who's going to blow up the Vatican with an antimatter bomb. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's got this promotion behind it, which I believe is purposely to create this sort of fictionalization of the real Illuminati. And Dan Brown does an excellent job, actually, of mixing in facts with fiction. And in the whole book, he references the actual Illuminati, some actual Illuminati history, that he mentions they're satanic. He mentions that, here I'm just going to quote from the book, in the 1700s, the Masons unknowingly became a front for the Illuminati. The Illuminati grew within their ranks, gradually taking over positions of power within the lodges. They quietly reestablished their scientific brotherhood deep within the Masons, a kind of secret society within a secret society. The Illuminati used the worldwide connection of Mason lodges to spread their influence. So he's a very clever propagandist, and on the other side, we'll get into some more of his strange disinformation and purposeful whitewashes.
MarkDice.com is the website. The book is The Illuminati, Facts and Fiction. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. folks, we are back. We are live with Mark Dice of markdice.com. The new book is The Illuminati, Facts and Fiction. And we're discussing the upcoming Dan Brown novel turned into a book, Angels and Demons. This is the prequel to the Da Vinci Code. And in it, the main character, Robert Langdon, hunts down the Illuminati. And I think I'm almost 100% positive that overseas the book wasn't called Angels and Demons. It was called The Illuminati.
I'm not sure about that. They might have changed the title. There might have been some conflict. There's another book titled The Illuminati out by another man that actually presents a fictional story, but in a more factual way, really in a way to kind of convey the real essence of the Illuminati. And Dan Brown, I don't urge anybody to go see the movie. I don't think you have to. It's going to be a blockbuster, but I think that what we're going to cover here in the next few minutes is really important so that anybody that goes and sees this movie, or from now on after May 15th, whenever anybody mentions the Illuminati, people are going to think that you are a psycho that saw Angels and Demons too many times, because Dan Brown is such an evil genius. He mixes in actual historical information about the Illuminati. He references the eye, the all-seeing eye on the back of the $1 bill, and the lead character, this man named Robert Langdon, is a expert on the Illuminati, and he pulls out the dollar bill out of his pocket, and he says that that's what got him interested in the Illuminati, is the all-seeing eye, and he became this symbologist, and he's a Harvard professor, and so he's trying to help the Vatican Church track down the Illuminati. Where would their hidden lair be, so that they can find the antimatter before it blows up Vatican City when they're holding this conclave where they elect a new pope. And so he references actual historical quotes by historical figures about the Illuminati, and he builds up this tremendous story, even referencing the internet. And there's one element in the book here where it says, this morning when I typed in the word Illuminati into the computer, it returned several thousand current references. Apparently the people think that the group is still active. So Robert Langdon, this character is played by Tom Hanks, doesn't believe that the Illuminati still exists. He thinks that they went into extinction in the late 1700s after they were exposed in Germany, just like most mainstream apologists will say. This doesn't exist anymore. It never continued on, and it's a thing of the past. And then he comes to believe that they still exist, and that they're out to attack the Vatican. But Dan Brown, I'm going to get to the crescendo of his lies and his Illuminati ties, Dan Brown's personal ties, here in a bit. But some of the odd things that he mixes in that have no reference in basis in reality at all is that he makes the Illuminati seem like they were a group of scientists and artists. Mm-hmm. And that the evil Catholic Church was persecuting them, and the Illuminati, he says, included Galileo, who actually died almost 100 years before the actual Illuminati was created. Galileo died in 1642. Now, for those who don't know, Galileo is largely responsible for the heliocentric idea of the universe, of the sun being the center of the universe. Now, Copernicus kind of came up with that idea, and then Galileo basically popularized it, and he was placed on house arrest from the Catholic Church because that was a heretical idea according to the Catholic Church at the time. And so apparently, according to Dan Brown, he was in the Illuminati, and it was just a group of scientists and artists that were just pursuing the truth. And the evil Catholic Church, which really was evil and is to some extent today, was persecuting them and killed them all, and killed Copernicus. The Dan Brown claims that the Catholic Church killed Copernicus, who came up with heliocentrism, when he actually died at the age of 70. And back in the 17th century, that was actually a pretty good old age there. So one other interesting piece of information there. And for those who are new to this, I'll let you know that the Illuminati brands are a complete fiction of Dan Brown. Dan says that the Illuminati created these iron brands, like you brand a cow or a cattle, in the names of earth, fire, wind, and water, the four ancient elements that ancient scientists believe made up the physical universe. And he says that the Illuminati made these brands, and in the film and in the book, the Illuminati is branding these cardinals in the chest as retribution, and they murder them at the sites of several artifacts that are several statues really created by the famous artist Bernini.
Mm-hmm.
And many people may be familiar with Bernini, Giovanni Bernini. He died in 1680, and he was a famous sculptor and sculpted a lot of religious sculptures and things, and he worked for the Vatican. So Dan Brown says that he was a secret Illuminati member, and he encoded Illuminati messages into his artwork. And we know that the Illuminati does encode things into their artwork, but certainly Bernini was not one of these individuals. And Bernini himself, of course, died 100 years before the actual Illuminati was created. And so they build up this interesting story. It's quite a compelling story. I don't urge anybody to go buy the book. It's already sold many, many millions, made Dan Brown a very, very rich man.